Hello there. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making time to watch us. This is the Personal Finance series. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Personal Finance series. We welcome you to our maiden edition this evening. We'll begin the program in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I am Monica Anbunab, the co-host for the night. I'm also here with our host, Mr. Sam Hagan, and I'm going to allow him to take us through the overview of Personal Finance Series. Someone will ask, what is Personal Finance Series? What are we about? What should we expect from you? All these questions and more will be answered by our host, Mr. Sam Hagan. Kindly take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening, everyone.
This is Personal Finance Series.
Personal
We are hopeful that at the end of this series, you will learn something about personal finance. The major purpose of the personal finance is to enlighten people on their personal finance and help them to know how to manage things like investment, personal investment, retirement, debts, and everything that has to do with personal finance. So follow us on our social media handles for more of such books. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for giving us an overview of what Personal Finance Series is about. To continue from where you stopped, I would like to talk about the vision and the mission of Personal Finance Series. The vision of Personal Finance Series is to be the number one financial series in Ghana, providing financial education to the public. Our mission. Our mission is to educate the public, especially individuals, on a conscious path to financial freedom. This would be delivered through weekly series, monthly seminars, and yearly programs. I personally believe that our efficient management of finances individually would go a long way to grow our economy. Without much ado, I would like to introduce our speaker for the night. And we've already seen him. He's no other person than Mr. Sam Hagan, who also doubles as our host for the night. Mr. Sam Hagan is a personal finance educator and an investment banker with experience in the asset management industry. He has professional certificates in wealth management from the Corporate Finance Institute, UK, and is licensed by the Ghana Stock Exchange. Sam had his first degree in accounting and is currently a relationship officer in one of Ghana's leading investment management firms in Ghana. He is going to take us through debt management, specifically how to borrow profitably. Before we continue, I would like you to type in the comment section what you think borrowing is about. How do you understand borrowing? Do you think we should borrow at all? Kindly make time, relax, and listen to Mr. Sam Hagan as he gives us the presentation on how to borrow profitably. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica.
Monica.
Uh, you're welcome once again, listeners. I'm hopeful that this presentation will reach us well and help us make decision concerning debt management. Today, on our first episode, we are looking at how to borrow profitably. Someone will also say how to borrow wisely. Borrowing has become part of our life, so it's very important for us to know why we must borrow well. This is my profile. I think has been said already. So during this short presentation, I will talk briefly on the history of borrowing. I'll also mention what debt management is, and then the wrong ways that we borrow, the things to consider before you borrow, then the right ways to borrow, and then the cost of borrowing. So at the end of this, let me say lecture, I believe that everyone here should know how to know the things that are wrong when it comes to borrow, then know how to take a good decision when a person wants to borrow. And I know when you go to class very well, you should come out how to borrow. First of all, let's look at borrowing. If we look back in the ancient Mesopotamia ages, we realize that in those ages, where in the late hundreds, uh, in the olden days, I would say borrowing wasn't, you know, that common because of how separated and people were not together. So when they talk about borrowing came as a result of when trading started. So when trading started, people who didn't have the currency to trade were forced to get things that they need to get down so that they will be able to get out. So in so doing, when they go out, the things that they have to represent themselves with something. So example is if I want to take um, something from Monica, but I don't have anything to give to Monica, I have to give Monica something and take what I want from Monica. So in today's world, we serve as a collateral, or in their terms, they were seeing that as an interest. When you bring the thing, then whatever you left with them, so they were seen as an interest, and another way as a collateral. Yeah. So I'll mention the briefs on what you need to know about the history of gold. So as you can see, the practice of lending has been around for 1,000 years, and it started with the ancient world. Okay, then lending at interest rates or interest was a point of contention with ethics and religion. And religion had closer relevance to state laws and culture, particularly during the Middle Ages. Lending also played a large role in the 1080s America, as it encouraged working class citizens to become financially stable through saving and home ownership. For centuries, your ability to borrow was based on your spoken reputation and character. So in those days, no one will give you something if the person doesn't know you, and the person doesn't really trust that you get it back. In those days, it wasn't about borrowing money, but it was valuable as money. So uh, before you borrow, your ability to borrow was based on your spoken and your character, but has since evolved to be dependent on computerized credit score. That is what we call interest rates and the collateral system. What I know you all have your thoughts on that. I would like to put on the comment section what you debt management is. Debt management is a way to get your debt under control through financial planning and budgeting. The goal of debt management plan is to use strategies to help lower your debt and move towards eliminating it. So the second statement makes you or helps you understand that debt is not a bad concept. In of the bad concept, people think it is bad to borrow. So the purpose of this webinar, especially debt management, is to help people understand that it is not bad to borrow. There's a way you can borrow from. When you borrow profit, how do you go by that? You have to know how to manage your debt. But borrowing profitably is not just that's if you are not able to borrow. So that brings us to debt management. So it have comments, you can bring them on board as well. Now let's look at ways of borrowing money. Uh, I know there are some things here that will contradict with some of our beliefs, but I am hopeful that with this you will take into have with higher than taking loans. Many people take loans based and the pressure on them to get some things done. Go for loans that has interest rates higher than the inflation rate. So in Ghana currently interest rate is 45% as we speak, and then inflation rate on government borrowing on the government is around 28. So you could see that there is a gap, and that is very, very understandable. But if you go for a loan that is offering you interest rate for 50%, then it should tell you that it is not, because in the right sense, how are you going to finance this? How are you going to pay back that you are paying? The inflation on the profit you are going to make after taking this loan. What you are going to do, inflation has already take loans that are higher higher interest rate than normal inflation rate. So take note of that. It's a wrong way of borrowing. Another thing you have to take note of is taking loans or borrowing with interest rates higher than estimated profit from what you are going to use the money. So let's say you're going to use the money to start a business, and after doing your rough estimate, you realize that in a year the uh, the business is going to fetch you a profit margin of 20% of the money you spent, you are going to make out of it. Okay, but the interest rate on the loan is 25%, meaning you are going for a you you use the money, then you go 20%. Do you get me? So it means you are actually borrowing for the lender. So at the end of the day, the interest you are paying is higher than on the business. This is why you borrow. It might not be business, it might be uh, borrowing to some expenses, borrowing to, and I call it liability, not bringing you cash back to you. Okay, they are liabilities. So this brings us to the third point, which is borrowing money to spend on liabilities. What are liabilities? In my own definition, a liability is anything that does not bring you money back. So it doesn't bring you money back. In fact, rent is a liability. If you're not going to rent any part of the place that you have rented, you're not getting any money back, then it's a liability. Bills are liabilities. Those are so all these things are liabilities. So when you're borrowing money to go and buy food, you should know that you are borrowing money to spend on liabilities. If you are borrowing money to go and fix your phone, whilst you know you are not getting anything from your phone, then you should know that you are borrowing money to spend on liabilities. And it's not advisable. It is a very, very key thing that I want us to notice. It's not advisable to borrow to spend on a liability. There's a debate on whether certain expenses are liability or example school fees. One can also say that my school fees is for my school. Yes, I want if I don't do anything. The school fee needs or the school fees is a liability has become so you should know how to um define your and then the money for before you go borrowing that money. Because what could be a liability for you might not be a liability for me. You understand on liability money. You should take note of the next point is borrowing is reputable lender, someone who doesn't have any reputation or an organization that doesn't have reputation. So let's say you borrowed money from a family member or a friend who doesn't have a reputation. At the end of the day, the person will go disgracing you if you are not able to meet the terms and conditions or terms and conditions about. There are other organizations I know one in Ghana that will come at you that you will even for them. Before loans from who that would the fact that you using the person go against but yeah, and then the loan. So it is very advisable not to borrow from that, being it an organization. I know the thing that will come up on is borrowing money from several lenders. This is another wrong way. Organization A, organization B, organization C, individual B, taking money from a lot of people. You know, I had a time in my life where I took money from almost everybody around me. But if you are my friend, I've taken money from you before. Yeah, you know, and later on, after I had my education on debt management, I realized that in finances, I realized that having a lot of lenders or several lenders is a bad reputation to yourself. So it is not advisable to have several lenders to borrow money from a lot of places, a lot of people. Don't mistake it with the amount you are borrowing. You can choose an individual or an organization that when you are in time of need, you go to this organization, you go to this individual. You understand? And if you treat your lenders right, you should be able to have a one or a limited number of lenders. Yeah, it is not advisable to have a lot of lenders, a lot of people, or a lot of organization you are taking money from. I hope I am clear on that. And the last point with ignorance, we want to talk about borrowing money. Yeah, ignorance of them who borrow because of the pressure do not take time to go through the terms and conditions they have with their lender. So you have to sit down. If you are borrowing from a friend, borrowing from an organization, you have to sit down, analyze. When am I paying back? Am I paying back with an interest? What amount of interest am I paying back with? When are you taking your money? Uh, is there any change to this if I'm not able to meet the requirement, or if I'm not able to go according to the terms and conditions? Is there any extra charge? What could happen to me? Make sure you exhaust everything you need to know about the loan, especially when it comes to loans with interest or loans from companies or institutions. You have to be literate about the terms and conditions concerning the loan. Don't say you were inherited the loan, so you didn't take that into consideration. When it is time for you to repay or make repayment, that is where you will see the essence of you taking the terms and conditions very serious. So please make sure you put that into consideration. Yeah. These are the 6 main mistakes many people do when it comes to borrowing money. There are a lot, categorize them 6, and I a lot of, but also have some points in mind that I have not mentioned in the comment box. I think it will be very useful to some of us. Now let's look at things to consider before you borrow. A lot of people do not consider these things before they borrow. They think borrowing money is just borrowing. But I want to make this clear that borrowing money basically is spending your money in the future, or spending your future money. So in Ghana, when we say the economy or the government has borrowed money, we are saying the government is spending the money of our generation. Okay. So when you borrow money, you are spending your future money. When I borrow money from Monica on Monday, it means I am spending my 20 cedis on Monday. 20 cedis have a money and then so it is bad to borrow when you are not using it for anything. So now, what are some of the things you need to consider before you borrow money? How stable is your income? How sure are you will be able to pay back? Do you have a stable income? In fact, the money you are borrowing should not exceed times three of your income. Example is you can't be earning 1,000 cedis and borrow 3,000 cedis. If you are paying back in a short period, how are you going to pay that? So how stable is your income? Do you have a secure job? What are your regular expenses? Do you spend almost 90% of your income? If that is it, then if you are going to borrow and then you are spending 90% of your income on expenses, then what margin of your income are you going to use to cater for the loan? You understand? So these are very vital things you need to consider before you borrow money. What are your long-term financial goals? It could affect why you should not borrow or why you should borrow. Will you be able to save money even when or even with the increased debt load? This is a very critical question. Ask yourself that you have to take that loan. After taking that loan, what are some of the major expenses you need to cut off because of that loan, including your monthly savings? Maybe I took 3,000 or 5,000 from a friend. Because of that, I won't be able to invest or save anymore for the next 1 year. That's that money you're borrowing has affected your investment saving life. You need to consider that before you borrow. The last thing you need to consider, of course, there are a lot of things to consider. The last thing I fix in here is how much cash do you need on hand each month to feel comfortable. I have um, a term that or a five main ways that you could be financially stable that could help you to. And then one of the points that I gave was that uh, was emphasizing on the 70-20-10 rule, where I emphasize on the fact that everyone who wants to be financially stable should know how to spend only 70% of his or her income, 20% on savings and investment, and then 10% on uh, religious issues, let's say tithing. Yeah. So if you are able to spend 70% of your income, then 20% goes into your investment savings, no matter what. At the end of the month. Meaning, if you take some portion out and you have only 60% of your income, I'm not going to feel that loan that is giving you money or that is giving you a, 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 a principle for you to pay back, that is going to affect more than 50% of your monthly income. Then it means you are only going to depend on 40% of your income. And are you sure you're going to feel comfortable depending on only 40% of your income? You have to consider this before you borrow. Because many times people borrow and then it becomes a chain on their neck for a long time. And the most surprising thing is what they even borrow to go and do is not profitable. People borrow to go and marry. Can you imagine? To go and marry, to spend on marriage. And marriage or marriage ceremony doesn't bring you anything. Yeah. So imagine going to borrow to marry, and then you need to be paying 50% of your your salary off every month to cater for that loan for 2 years. When you're going to manage yourself with the 50% that is left, are you sure you will be able to live on 50%? That is what this question is asking. How much cash do you need on hand each month to feel comfortable? If you know, oh, my salary is 1,000, but every month, if I have 600 cedis, I'll feel comfortable. So if I'm taking this loan that the lender said I will be giving her 400 cedi monthly, I think I can be paying that and I'll still feel comfortable because I have 600. That will help me, cater for other expenses. So this is something you need to consider before you borrow. Now let's go to one of the most important parts of this line, that is the right ways to borrow money. The first thing to look at is always look for an interest-free loan. This is the first point to look out if you are looking at borrowing profitably. You need to look for interest-free loan. Most of the times, interest-free loan are gotten from family and friends. Yeah, and research also shows that there are some NGOs who also give free loans or interest-free loans. So you should also look at that. But in times where the economy is hard and people are not stable, it is sometimes hard to get interest-free loan. So you have to go for a loan with an interest. But remember the wrong way of borrowing, which says that your interest rate on your loan shouldn't be more than your inflation rate in the economy. Yeah. So if you don't get an interest free loan and you're going for a loan with interest, make sure you get a loan that has an interest at least be below halfly below your inflation rate. Halfly below. That will be comfortable for you. And the next thing, next way of borrowing money is to avoid loans with interest rates higher than estimated profit of what you are going to use the money for. So if you know you're going to use the money for a business that will spread as the scenario I said earlier, but the interest rate is 25%, then you should know you're working for your lender. Yeah, this is what you're going to use, getting you more money than the interest rate plus the principal of the loan. You understand? In an idle or in short, I want to say make sure you are making profit from the money you are borrowing. Don't let pressure force you to get money to cater for things that will, at the end of the day, be an expense to you. Thirdly, avoid or avoid and the inflation rate. Spending borrowed money on assets and not liabilities. Do you want to borrow right? You have to know how to spend borrowed money on things to you. So I call assets brings you money back. Okay. Um, Borrowing money to invest in an more I found out in Nigeria and then use it than the interest rate on burden your home, depending. Okay. So the who's a reputable and someone who will not disgrace you if you go into. So someone who will understand and consideration in the first place. You guys need to consider those things as part of the policies. So Thirdly, avoid interest rates higher than higher than the inflation. Money on assets, not money on things that will change you. So example is money to invest investment interest rate than the interest on doing that. In fact, they said he borrows from many banks in um Nigeria because in saying him more interest that what you are than the interest of the consideration in the first place. You guys need to consider those policies. So will not represent you wrongly. Will be there if that person has lent money to you. And then make sure on time you are able to get principles to put in place with the lender to settle. You're not able to go back to your lender. Say on the set date that both propose another time that you feel you will be able to pay, and then make and good reputation so that the next time need of that cash to borrow that will take care of of it goes by saying you can't pay back, it's your problem. borrow a lot, and if you can't pay back, but your sorrow weighs more when you lend. Interesting, right? Yeah. And I wouldn't say much about this. What let us know what we should tackle during the next episode. So, in the comment box. And thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much.
Like to ask you some few questions. Probably, I'm sure my audience will, or like names, but then we'll be taking theirs from the comment section. So let's me ask this question so that the audience will also you ask for, you answer for liabilities. As you said, it's a wrong way. But he or she supplied me with goods. So I'm being to this creditor got goods from money from to pay this creditor. Am I wrong to save my life? What do you say?
Thank you so much, Monica, for. I think this uh, owing someone and conditions were was on don't have the money. The question is going net free from the I said this question, response to this question is two ways. Is if uh, in but since you are paying late, the other then from the new lender is more than the interest of your already existing creditor, it will be advisable to manage your no think going to the creditor or even one with head to not to say advice is for you to do something that will not cost you
Answer to the question. One last question is, you said we shouldn't take money from several lenders, but I'm how then do I get the complete amount I want to use?
okay.
Think
Question.
the question.
Um,
Um,
having a lot of lenders, okay, and there's a lot of lenders. I'm not talking about two. I'm talking about, and it's about damaging your reputation. You know, when it comes to or your reputation. When I talk about not making a lot of taking a lot of making a lot of from uh, there's a lot of uh, that, that person that uh, you, you have put money from already. Now, example is I am having 5 people that whenever, as in last 5 years, I went to A, 2 years I went to C. Like for 5 people, and then this influence, meaning I'm spreading the fact that I need money. A lot of people, you not urging your yes. So I feel you have take money from already. So go to them, let them know your least. Then you are challenged to another supplier, someone who's so that will not be advisable, but that will be the only you have. Then I will suggest but when it comes to organizations to before go on your profile some amount somewhere that you have not taken care of. You have both Zenith Bank. They're going to take good. You are owing mobile money and you haven't paid for the past 5. That is money has you know them where shows that paid your money. It means that if they realize that then they are not going to pay you. They're not going to as in they're not going to mind you. Yeah, so because they have realized that you have back and limited number of
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for your answers. So organization or banks would try to check your credit worthiness before they grant you a loan. Thank you so much. We want to say thank you very much share your questions or more on in comment section. Also leave our WhatsApp comment. Be sharing our slides, the slides we use for the presentation platform. If you on it, you can test the number that will be left in the comment to be added. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish to see you in our next episode. Thank you and have a good night. God bless you. Bye bye.